Hi everyone, this is Attorney Tharpe and I am U.S. Immigration Attorney. I'm here live to take your questions. So go ahead and drop your questions in the comments. I would like to formally introduce myself. I am U.S. Immigration Attorney Tharpe. I help clients to get their green cards and their status in the United States. So I come on every night to take your immigration questions. So go ahead and put your questions in the comments. It can be anything that's immigration related. If you want to learn more about me, my practice, what I've done, you can go to the link in my bio where it'll take you to my website. It will provide the contact information. There's a contact form on there that where you could put your information for me to contact you, or rather the firm to contact you. And you can also give the office a call at 561-405-4889. So go ahead, put your questions in the comments and I will answer right away. You are my priority. Your questions are my priority. And I know that if you are going through the immigration process, then you're going through it, or you're thinking about going through it, or you are here in the United States without your papers, then you definitely would want. Hi there, Elizabeth. Then you definitely have questions about how you can get your green card, ways that you can qualify. Hi there, user 437. Go ahead and put your questions in and I will happily answer your questions. So user 473, you said legal documents here, please. So go ahead and finish your question so that I can understand it better to answer it. So keep putting your questions in the comments and I will go ahead and answer. If you don't feel comfortable with asking your question, you'd like to schedule a personal consultation with me, go ahead and do that. Now I want to let you know that there's a receptionist who will answer the phone 24/7. However, our office hours are Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 6:30 p.m. Hi, Vanessa Field. Thanks for sharing the live. So if you call outside of those hours, you will get an after hours receptionist who will take good care of you still. They will take your name, your number, your information so that we can get back to you on the next business day. And it will be the scheduling coordinator who will contact you on the next business day. So that would be Monday if you call right now, and schedule the consultation with you. So user 437, I said my visa is going to expire very soon. So if your visa is going to expire, then you would need to apply for it to be renewed. If you're here in the United States and your visa is about to expire, you have to go to the embassy or you have to apply for an extension if you're here already and it's about to expire. You have to apply for an extension to be able to stay, get permission to stay a little longer. Elizabeth Hayuk, please, I have applied for work permit February. It is not out. So yes, it is taking about 6 to 8 months right now. So unfortunately, everything has been backlogged because of the pandemic, because there's already a huge backlog. So if you just applied in February, it may be less, it may be more, but the average time I'm seeing right now is 6 to 8 months. So keep those questions coming. Vanessa Field, thanks for sharing the live. Keep those questions coming. I am here to answer your immigration questions. So keep your questions coming. So I like to come with a topic myself to talk about. So while the questions are coming in, I talk about that topic in between, but I see here we have more questions. So I reside in the Caribbean, but I really would like to obtain US citizenship. How can I do this? So the first step is you would have to you'd have to become a permanent resident first. That means you'd have to apply for your green card. And to qualify for your green card, you'd have to qualify through an employer, through a family member, a qualifying family member, or if you apply for asylum or the T or the U visa. So that would be the first step, is do you qualify for a green card? So through an employer, there are many different ways, and so it really would depend on your qualifications, what the needs of the country are, what the needs of the employer are, whether you have an employer who's willing to sponsor you. And then through family, it would be through a US citizen or legal permanent resident parent, spouse, or a son or daughter who's 21 and up, or a US citizen sibling. So those are the family members who would be able to sponsor you. Nell Kell Bangs, I'm a nurse in Sierra Leone and I win the diversity visa. What are my chances of getting a US visa? So great question. What you would have to do, it really depends on the number that you are assigned and whether they actually process the number. So what happens is you will have 1 year so it's between October and September 30th to be able to apply for the immigrant visa to get to the United States to become a permanent resident. And what happens is, if you were assigned a certain number, each month they will show what number they're processing. So the number that they show, if you're under that number, that means you're in, and that you're gonna start to they're gonna start to process your application. They're ready to start processing your application. You can check that at the National Visa Bulletin. And unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to tell you your chances. You just have, from month to month, you have to see whether your number falls below that number that they publish in the National Visa Bulletin. So Leah Galov, how are you doing? Thank you for asking. I'm doing fine. And it's Saturday, it's the weekend, so it's a great time to relax and chill a little before the busy week. Thanks for asking. I hope you're doing well too. Keep your questions coming. I'm here to answer your immigration questions. So go ahead, drop your questions in the comments. I want you to know that I am here to answer your immigration questions. So put them in the comments and then I will go ahead and answer. I like to take a topic to talk about as well. And so today I'm going to be talking about who qualifies to apply for the green card while they're in the United States. Only certain individuals can do this, and so I'm going to go over who those individuals are. But please feel free to put your questions in the comments at any time, and your questions don't have to be related to the topic I'm talking about. So Nell Kell Banks, thanks for the guide. What if I want to take my spouse with me after winning the diversity visa? So the great news is that your spouse and your children under 21 will also qualify to go along with you should you get the diversity visa. So that is the good news. It wouldn't just be you, but your family members as well. So David Fraser, I've been talking for 4 months and will be visiting, but he wants to get married. What should I do? So that, David Fraser, that's a personal decision. You have to decide whether this person is right for you, and whether if he is a U.S. citizen, then and you come to the United States and say your circumstances change, you end up getting married, you can stay in the United States and apply for the green card while you're here. But as to whether you should get married, whether he is the right person for you, is really your decision. You can ask follow-up questions if I didn't answer your question. Vanessa Field 4, I have been a legal resident for 14 years, estranged from my husband. Do I need him to do my citizenship? Vanessa Field 4, absolutely not. You do not need him. If you have been a permanent resident for 14 years, then you can apply for the green card on your own. Now, if you have any doubts, if there are any issues that you want to discuss with me to get legal advice, go ahead and do that, because I'm just giving you general information. You can call, schedule a consultation with me, and we can go over your facts, the history of how you gain permanent residence and your marriage, to see if in somehow, some way that could possibly affect your eligibility for citizenship. However, generally speaking, if you gained permanent residence and you have been a permanent resident for more than 5 years or more, you can apply for U.S. citizenship on your own merits. It's not based on anybody else. Nell Kelbangs, you're welcome. Monty John 5, I'm planning to apply for a USA B1, B2 visa to go on a cruise. Do I need to take the cruise itinerary? I would highly recommend that you take that itinerary, because they're going to want to see that, see what your travel plans are, see, what is, and it definitely can confirm that it's a temporary trip, because they'll see a beginning to it and an end to it. So SOAW7, what if you get married and then the person have a criminal record? Will you still be able to get it? So if you are the immigrant spouse and it's your US citizen or permanent resident spouse that has a criminal record, usually it doesn't affect the process. Hi there, user 9016. It's nice to see you. Thanks for saying hi. So keep your questions coming. These are all great questions, and that's exactly why I'm here. I am here to answer your immigration related questions. So keep putting those questions in the comments, and I will answer your question. So if you asked your question and I haven't gotten to you, please hang tight. Sometimes this is a bit delayed. User 9016, hi there. There's a delay waiting 2 years plus for conditions to be removed, but it's a VAWA case. Yes, so unfortunately, this there is a huge backlog with the removal of conditions. This is not anything new. However, what I have found is that in some removal of conditions cases, there are additional questions that they may have that may be delaying the process. So the first thing you should do is check with them to make sure that they're not waiting for information from you. And then after that, you want to make sure that you submitted everything that you needed to submit to, to prove your VAWA case. So Monty John 5, okay, thanks. Next question, can I use a friend's address in the USA? He's a citizen by birth. So Monty John 5, I believe you're the one that's applying for the B1, B2. So I cannot tell you because I'm not looking at the application. I don't know what question you're responding to on the application. And so I can't advise you as to whose address you should use without providing you getting more information and providing you reviewing the actual application. So I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly what to put on the application, and I'd actually be doing you an injustice if I told you yay or nay without reviewing the application that you're completing and your facts, the facts involved. So Nikib Love, will you be able to come back to the US if you were deported? If you have a felony, can my wife file for me? So in this case, it is complicated because some individuals who have been deported, they're able to return to the United States, but usually it's through a waiver, because the basis of the deportation usually also means that the person is inadmissible. And so they have to apply for forgiveness first. And in some cases, if it's drug related, there may not be any way to get a waiver or forgiveness. So it really depends on what the circumstances are to be able to say. But generally speaking, there is a possibility to return after deportation, but it depends on the facts and whether you qualify for forgiveness to come back, or whether you even need forgiveness to come back. So, Moisin, please, how can someone apply for a green card with the HB1 visa? So it depends on how you qualify. So if you have the HB1 visa, you'll still need, if you're looking at another employment-based green card, you'll have to qualify for it. So you'd have to meet the specific criteria for that particular type of green card. If it's through family, same thing. You have to qualify through the right family members. So it all depends on what your situation is, how you qualify, who your employer is, whether you qualify for the extraordinary ability green card, where you can apply for the green card on your own, or exceptional ability, or whether you qualify for the national interest waiver, which would allow you to bypass the labor certification process. So it all depends. What I suggest you do is give me a call and schedule a consultation to go over your qualifications and whether you now qualify for an employer-based green card. Now with the HB1, if you're looking at an employment-based green card, and you don't qualify for the extraordinary ability green card, that's a type of green card you can apply for on your own if you can show you're at the top of your field and that you can show the evidence to support that. If you don't qualify for that, then you'll probably need an employer. And so the next question is your employer willing to sponsor you? And usually in the case where the employer is sponsoring you, then the employer would have to hire me to submit the paperwork. But if you want to know your options, schedule a consultation with me and then we can go over your facts. So Kunte, 34, I'm Jamaican, been married to my American fiance for 2 months now. What should we do? So if you're Jamaican and you came in, you overstayed your visa, and then you decided to get married to your American fiance, then the next possible step would be adjustment of status to a green card. And that all depends on your background. So if you have no other disqualifying issues going on, no criminal record, you didn't come in as a crew member or on a crewman's visa, then you could possibly successfully complete the adjustment of status process. What I suggest your next step should be is get legal advice. Make sure that you are going into the process fully informed about what you need to do. And if you need representation through the process, that is something I can definitely help you with. But it is definitely worth it to sit down with me, for example, an immigration attorney, and listen to your facts, get your details, and then advise you specifically on how you should approach the adjustment of status process if you qualify. Hi, SAF781. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking, and I hope you're doing well as well. So Lisa Singh, 27. Thanks for following. And how long does an asylum case take when married to a U.S. citizen? So being married to a U.S. citizen is not going to make the process faster for asylum. You would have to go through the adjustment of status process to basically qualify for the green card through your U.S. citizen spouse. The asylum process right now is backlogged, and so it is difficult to give you a particular time frame. But usually after a year, you would qualify for a work permit while you wait for the asylum process to be complete. Now, if you need further legal advice about how, filing for asylum, but now you're married to a U.S. citizen, whether you qualify to apply for the green card instead of through the asylum process. Rush Shane, is there a possibility we can file for our cousins in the U.S.? Unfortunately not. Cousins don't qualify for you to apply for their green card. Corey 1879, does Form I-944 still applicable when filing Form I-485? I received. So right now it is not applicable. They are not accepting the I-944. However, if you receive an RFE requesting the form, what you need to do is follow up with them to determine, first of all, to explain to them that it's no longer applicable. And you may have received this RFE before they threw out the rule. So what I would do is respond to it still, but it will not be applicable at the interview. This is, if you really would like to approach this and make sure you approach this in properly, get legal advice first, schedule a consultation, get representation. However, generally speaking, this is not applicable. So even if you respond to the RFE with the completed I-944 form, when you get to the final interview, they will not review that form. Nikib, love, you're welcome. Humble Lady 777, thanks for the follow. Diane Hall 90, thanks for the follow. Gentian Violet, can you further explain the process and length for the green card through the job? So there are different ways that you can apply for the green card through an employer. So there's the Extraordinary Ability Green Card, or the EB1, and that is basically if you can show extraordinary ability that you've reached the top of your field in certain areas, so science, arts, education, business, and athletics. Then there's the Exceptional Ability Green Card, and that's the sciences, the arts, business. If you can show that you have usually an advanced degree or you have exceptional ability, usually as a professional in these areas, you can, and that you can contribute to the United States, do good work in the United States, then under the as the Exceptional Ability Green Card, you would qualify for the National Interest Waiver. For example, entrepreneurs have qualified for this. The Extraordinary Ability Green Card and the Exceptional Ability Green Card both don't require you to have an employer to sponsor you, but you do have to meet the criteria to show evidence that you are at the top of your career, that you can contribute, continue your work in the United States, and that you are able to carry out that work. So that is something that if you feel you qualify for, you should schedule a consultation with me, and let's talk more about your qualifications. Then there's the EB3 green card process, employer-based green card process. There's for the professionals, and then unskilled and skilled labor. Those have to go through a labor certification process, and then once it passes the labor certification process, the employer can file the petition and push you through the green card process. All right, so any information for Canada, shake her table. I am not a Canadian immigration attorney. You would have to seek a Canadian immigration attorney to get advice regarding Canadian immigration law. Monty John, yes, I'm the one. Okay. Cav 1012, can you recommend the best states to immigrate to with respect to cost of living and safety? So unfortunately, I would not be able to do that. While I do assist immigrants to immigrate to the United States, I don't usually guide them. They usually know where they want to go already. I'm humble lady 777. I'm sorry, typo. I meant what I form. I need to sponsor myself, sister. So with the form, usually you start with the I-130 petition if you're going to sponsor a sibling. Corey 1879, I received the RFE 3 weeks ago. So in that, yes, so right, Corey, if you received it 3 weeks ago, then there may be an error because it is not applicable, but still follow the instructions of the RFE and follow up with them and see if they can make a change. Diane Hall 90, thanks for sharing the live. Humble Lady 777, hello, I'm a US citizen. What form do I need to talk? So I guess to sponsor your sister who is married and age 38. So you, generally speaking, a sibling, a US citizen sibling uses the I-130 form to sponsor their sibling. User 9016, should I call you concerning the VAWA case? So if you do want further representation on your case, you can go ahead and give me a call. There are situations where they need something or there's something that's missing that I could possibly help with. So it's up to you to decide whether you should call to get further advice and representation on this. So Sav 781, I have a question. I came in this country legally. I'm living with a US citizen. So if you came in, now the US citizen, if you're married to a US citizen spouse, but you came in without a visa, there is a waiver process that would allow you to apply for forgiveness during the green card process. And what that would do is allow you to leave the country, go to the interview, your final green card interview in your home country, and not have the illegal entry held against you. So give me a call, schedule a consultation, and we can go over your circumstances. To qualify for this waiver, you'll have to show that you're a U.S. citizen, or if you have a U.S. citizen or green card holder spouse or parent who will experience extreme hardship. In this case, your U.S. citizen spouse would definitely qualify as a qualifying family member. It would just be a question of whether they would experience extreme hardships without you, which I'm sure if you're living with them, you're helping them financially, or they're dependent on you, that argument can be made. So give me a call at 561-405-4889. Schedule a consultation. Now, if you missed the phone number, my phone number is also plastered all over my videos, and then you can also go to the link in my bio to get the information as well. Hi, why is the EAD is taking longer time than it is expected? Because of COVID and because there was a backlog to begin with. Can a B1 visa have a chance to change to have a working visa or resident visa? It depends on whether you qualify, Bethy 010, to change your status over. It is possible, but you have to have an employer lined up, or you have to qualify for the green card through an employer or through a family member. Seema Das, thanks for the follow. how long does it take to sponsor a sibling? So it's taking at minimum 14 years. So 14 years around the world. In Mexico, it's taking 22 years. In the Philippines, 19 years. In India, 15 years. Everywhere else, it's taking 14 years. So Marcia Russell, thanks for sharing the live. So from January, I get a letter they send and say that I must get everything original. I don't get any call. So Marcia or Russell, in that case, you should follow up with them. If you haven't gotten a call, follow up with them. And if you need legal advice, you know where to find me. Call 561-405-4889. So T. Morrison, thanks for following. Okay, so let's see. Bethy, thank you. How can I know to be qualified, ma'am? So with this, it's a lot more complex, and we'd have to go through your particular details to see, because every case is different. Every extreme hardships of your U.S. citizen spouse will be different. So everybody has different circumstances, and so we'd have to go through your details to determine whether you qualify that way. Wilmot, Belinda, can someone working on an H-2B visa apply for a green card? No, not just by having the H-2B, but you have to qualify through a U.S. citizen relative, if you're an immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, or through an employer. Humble Lady 77, what state is your office located? So I'm in Boca Raton, Florida, but keep in mind I represent clients all over the country and globally, because we have to work with USCIS offices all across the country anyway. Humble Lady 777, how long will it take a parent to sponsor an adult child? So if it's a U.S. citizen who's sponsoring a son or daughter over 21, it's taking about 5 to 6 years. If you're a green card holder parent, sponsoring an adult child over is taking about the same time. More Benjamin, thanks for sharing the live. TG7500, you're welcome. So keep those questions coming. I am going to be on here just for a little bit more, so I want to hear your questions. Go ahead, drop your questions in the comments, and I will answer your questions as soon as I see it come in the comments. These were all very good questions, and I'm taking a few more, so drop your questions. So David Fraser, can you retype your question? I didn't see your previous questions. Go ahead and type your question. I'm here to answer your immigration related questions. So if you're going through the immigration process, you're thinking about the process, you're here without your papers, and you want to know if there is a possibility for you to get your papers, then drop your questions in the comments. How long does it take for a U.S. citizen to file for their spouse? So right now, I've seen as little as 9 months. The average time is 18 months. And then where the maximum time I've seen so far is a little over 2 years. Where are you located in the U.S.? I'm in Boca Raton, Florida. That's where I meet my clients in person. However, keep in mind that I also offer phone and video consultations for those who are outside of the country. Outside of the state and the country, because I do represent clients in all 50 states and globally. So Marcia Russell, my husband filed for me and it is approved. I get a letter, no call. So usually they don't call. So I don't know why you would be expecting a call. Usually they send a letter and then they will send an interview notice. Sometimes where they will call is if there's some miscommunication and there's an emergency, they need to get you in for the interview right away, they will give you a call. Otherwise, everything is by email or letter. So keep those questions coming. These are all great questions, and I'm here to answer your immigration questions. So I was saying that I usually come with a topic while those questions are coming in. And so I'm quickly going to go over who can qualify for the green card while applying, while staying in the United States. So only certain individuals qualify for this, and it's called the adjustment of status process. And those would be individuals who can maintain their status while they're in the United States for the duration of the process. You're welcome, Marcia. And those who are immediate relatives of U.S. citizens. So if you can't maintain your status, but you came in with a visa and you're the immediate relative of a U.S. citizen, that means that you are the spouse of a U.S. citizen, you're the parent of a U.S. citizen, or you're the son or daughter who's 21 and under of a U.S. citizen. You could still qualify for the green card while staying in the U.S. as long as you don't have other disqualifying factors. Miss Lady 01, thanks for the compliment. David Fraser, yes, I do want to get married and he's the one. What should I do next? I already have my visa. So in that case, I cannot give you specific advice as to what you should do next unless I talk to you. Because I'd be doing an injustice, David, if I told you something based on very general surface information. I need to know all your details before I can tell you what to do next. Generally speaking, if you enter the country, generally speaking, spouses of U.S. citizens who came in on a visa, overstayed their visa, got married to their U.S. citizen spouse, can usually qualify for the adjustment of status process as long as they didn't intend to enter the United States to do that. And second of all, as long as there are no other disqualifying factors like a criminal record or that you came in with a crewman's visa. So for example, the C1 or the D visa. So Miss Lady 01, will the U.S. Embassy put a radar on me if I email them about my visiting visa status? So Miss Lady, I forgot your previous question. But Miss Lady, this is this would be my answer to you. I say get legal advice first, find out what your rights are, and maybe you'll get your answer there instead of contacting the embassy directly. Because yes, there's always the risk that you would be, disclosing information that could affect you to the embassy. So what you need to do is protect yourself and get with an attorney, such as myself, who can advise you on what your visa status is and what the next step should be. So that should be what you do. I need to hire a lawyer to apply for citizenship. Well, I do U.S. citizenship. Jack Nunn. I do U.S. citizenships. I do represent my clients through the citizenship process. So give me a call. I do require consultations first to make sure you qualify and make sure I can represent you on it. You can call the office at 561-405-4889 and go ahead, schedule the consultation, and then we can get started there. Case Sapkota, why is AD taking so much longer than expected? Because of COVID and because things were backlogged to begin with. Nira, do you also have information about adopting my 10-year-old niece? So I wouldn't be able to advise you specifically on adopting your niece because I don't know the circumstances. I do know that if you legally adopt a child before the age of 16, then you could apply for their green card at this after you have adopted them. However, I don't know if this would work for you, just based on the circumstances. Stella, 07252, what is the process if I do a fiance visa? My fiance lives in Jamaica. We know each other for 11 years. Great. So the first step would be to apply for using the form. So once you submit the forms, then it would go through the application process, and if approved, it would be sent to the National Visa Center, where he would be called in for an interview. And then if he got approved, he would come to the United States, and you would have 90 days to get married in the United States. Once you get married, then you would do the adjustment of status process. Stella, I highly recommend that you give me a call. This is exactly what I do. Schedule a consultation. Let's go over the details and get started. Can you repeat the number again, please? So it's 561-405-4889. Now, when you call, right now it's after hours. The hours are between 8:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. But you will still get an after hours receptionist who will take good care of you. They'll take your information, and then the scheduling coordinator will get back to you on the next business day. So go ahead and leave your name, your number if you want to call right now, and then we'll call you back to schedule a consultation. Miss Lady, but I already did email them. I'm kind of scared that if they revoke my visa. So Miss Lady 01, get legal advice to, first of all, put your mind at ease, or to know your rights and know what is to come. Bossy Girl 740, thanks for sharing. Shaquille, I wasn't born in the U.S., neither were my parents, but I've lived in the U.S. since I was 1 year old. I wasn't born in the U.S. Okay, so in this case, Stella, you're welcome. So in this case, it doesn't necessarily, unfortunately, it doesn't qualify you for any green card or status. Depending on how long you've been here, you may qualify for DACA. So that is one way to get a work permit, so you're able to work. Otherwise, if you don't qualify for DACA, there is no available. You wouldn't qualify for a status just based on this. However, I really would like to talk to you to evaluate further what's going on. If you do qualify for DACA, because it sounds like you've been here for a very long time. So if that's the case, you could qualify for DACA. So I highly recommend you give me a call, schedule a consultation, and let's go over the qualifications for DACA and see if it will work for you. Shaquille, I wasn't born, so I just went ahead and answered your question, Shaquille. So great questions. Thank you for all your questions. Robert Stewart, thanks for the follow. I am here every day. So I'm here every day with a few exceptions. So I like to close out the night with you, and tonight was very enjoyable. Your questions were great. If I missed your question, hang on to your question and come back, follow me, and then as soon as I go live again, you can ask your question. More Benjamin says, how much does it cost for the consultation? It's $150 for up to an hour. It's well worth it because you come out with the information you need. Humble Lady 777, you're welcome. The information you need. You're empowered, you're informed, and should you need further representation, you have that option. So I highly recommend that you go forward with it. Call me at 561-405-4889 and schedule that consultation. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm 18 years old. I've been here since I was 1. If I get married, how long will citizenship take? So you would have to get your permanent residence first, and if you get married to a U.S. citizen, it all depends on whether you came in with a visa or not. If you came in with a visa and overstayed, then it could be as little as 9 months and as long as 2 years. I've seen the average 18 months. But Shaquille, get legal advice because you're 18 years old. That means that you could possibly qualify for DACA. So I need to evaluate your circumstances. DACA could provide you a work permit for 2 years and some much needed relief. So Amanda, I'm in Boca Raton, Florida, but I represent clients in all 50 states. We do have to work with USCIS Immigration Service offices all over the country and embassies all over the world. So it's no problem that I represent my clients all over the United States as well as globally. I offer phone and video consultations, so I'm very flexible. So Daphne Brown 848, thanks for sharing the live. So I am going to head out. Thanks again, everyone, for joining, and please tune in tomorrow when I come on again. Have a good night.